Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can write a song on the guitar. It's a hands-on, step-by-step tutorial that will take you through all the necessary steps. We will not just talk about it, we will actually do it. There is no need to know any musical theory at all. I will try to make it as easy as possible for you guys. In order to follow this tutorial, what you're going to need is a guitar, a basic knowledge about what a chord is, and some basic guitar tabs reading knowledge. Also in the description below, you're going to find a link to a free article that covers all those steps in writing. And it also adds additional information for you, like, for example, tools that you can use for songwriting. Every song consists of 3 musical pillars, which are harmony, rhythm, and melody. The guitar is actually a great tool for songwriting because all of those 3 pillars are covered on the guitar. So you can play harmony, in terms of chords. You can play rhythm based on the strumming pattern that you choose. And melody is covered either by playing a melody line on the guitar, or actually if you choose to sing along what you're playing on your guitar. We're going to follow those 3 pillars in the process of actually writing our song. I personally think that inspiration is crucial to write a good song because inspiration will narrow down the endless possibilities of what kind of song you want to write. And it will make it easier for you to focus on what you actually want to do. Chances are high that you're already inspired when you're watching this tutorial. If not, check my article to find some things how to get inspired. Okay, let's get started with the songwriting. The first step is actually harmony. In order to create the harmony for our song, we need to create a chord progression. Let's start with the chord progression. A chord progression is a progression of chords that you play throughout a certain part of your song. My general advice is do not try to overcomplicate this. Make it as easy as possible. Less is really more here. Some of the greatest songs on this planet are actually only 3 chords. In order to create this progression, let's first pick a key. My suggestion is to pick a key that has many open chords. An open chord is a chord that incorporates open strings in it. I'll give you an example. For example, the E major chord. As you see, we have different kind of strings that are played openly. Another example would be, for example, the D major chord. C major and A minor, as well as G major and E minor, both have 5 open chords. D major and B minor and F major and D minor have 4 open chords. A major and F sharp minor have 3 open chords. So for our song here, I'm going to pick the key of D major. It actually has 4 open chords, namely D major, E minor, G major, A major. So what we're going to do is take those 4 chords, mix them up in different situations, and see if we can create a chord progression out of it. Actually, if you just play them in this sequence, it already is a chord progression, like D, that's already a progression that you could use. But let's try to mix it up a little bit. So this was E minor, A major, D major, G major. You see, we already created 2 chord progressions just by using those chords. I will take something actually very, very easy, which is D major, G major, A major, D major. It's a very classic chord progression. You will hear it in a lot of songs. So we just created a chord progression. Rhythm means speed and time. And by time, I mean the time signature. For example, 4/4 beat, or a 3/4 beat, or a 6/8 beat. You're probably very familiar with a 4/4 beat, which is just 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could also take another beat, like for example a 3/4 beat, which would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or a 6/8 beat, which would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A typical selection would be a 4/4 beat, but I'm going to go for something different, namely a 3/4 beat. As some of you guys might know, I'm actually from Austria, and the 3/4 time is the typical time for an Austrian dance, which is the waltz. It goes like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So now that I have selected my time, we will need to select a strumming pattern. It could be something like that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I was picking the strings now, but the idea is to experiment with different kinds of strumming patterns to get something that you're actually happy with. It could be something like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the best way to actually experiment with different kinds of strumming patterns is to maybe take a metronome and put it in the time that you have chosen, in this case like a 3/4 pattern, put it on repeat and just play your chord progression on it and experiment with different kind of phrasings, emphasis on different kind of points. By changing from the 3/4 time that we had here to the other one, we actually went to a different kind of emphasis. So you see the one beat is not accentuated that much anymore than it was before. So actually you would rather count it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have actually moved from the 3/4 pattern to 6/8 just by experimenting with the different kind of strumming patterns. And this is actually the one that I'm going to use. This part is about experimenting with variations of the chords that you're using in your chord progression. This is very essential to make it special. So there's different ways to do this. The good thing is we focused on keys that have a lot of open chords, and this is a great way to start your experimentation. So let's take the first chord that we have, which is a D chord. The way you can experiment is basically by removing notes from that chord. I will try to remove this finger in the chord and see what kind of sounds it's giving me. So you see that the chord that we actually created now sounds slightly different. It has more tension, it's more open, and it gives the chord an interesting sound. You can apply the same technique to any other open chord. Let's say C major. And sometimes if you do that, it will move maybe a major chord to a minor chord, like in the case of E major. Another way to do this is to see the chord in the context that you're actually playing it. Let's take a chord progression, for example, of G major and C major. What you can try to do in this case is to incorporate some notes that you have in the first chord into your second chord. I'm going to do this with those two notes which are part of the G major chord, and also put them into my C major chord. And you could apply it even to the next chord. Let's take D major. Let's see how this sounds without a variation and after how it sounds with variation. And now with the variation. You see that with the variations, you give your chord progression, a different kind of styling, and some spice and flavor, which I really encourage you to experiment with. So let's apply this technique now to the song that we are writing currently. If you remember, the chord progression was D major, G major, A major, and D major. Let's first take the D major chord and remove one of the fingers to see how it sounds. So, and we're going to mix this technique with a second technique and incorporate the same kind of notes also in the G major chord, which would follow. So instead of playing G like this, we're going to use this F sharp note in the G chord. And then also remove the finger here. Sounds quite interesting. And let's do the same actually for the A major chord. Let's hear the two chord progressions in the original standard version and then with the variations. So you see that applying those variations on the chords in the chord progression has given it a different touch and it sounds more rich and maybe more open. So let's play the chord progression with the time that we chose and as well with the pattern that we chose before. It sounds like this. By applying the three pillars, namely harmony, rhythm, and melody, which we're going to do in the next tutorial, we were able to create a very unique kind of chord progression and part of a song out of very standard elements, just by putting details in each and single one of them. Thank you so much for watching. If you think that I have missed something, or if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comment section below. If you think this was helpful, feel free to like this video and also to follow my YouTube channel. This tutorial has been covered in greater depth in my article that I have linked down in the description of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.